What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/ChoosingBeggars.
This story's called My Japanese Bosses Are Real Choosing Beggars.
Choosing Beggar 1.
Choosing Beggar 2. Backstory. I work in a Japanese manufacturing company overseas as a translator. I'm a local employee, not Japanese. We have 4 Japanese managers, and I work under Choosing Beggar 2. Being a translator, I pick up on a lot of things while working here. One day, Choosing Beggar 1 and Choosing Beggar 2 verbally promised me to raise my rank as a training manager so I can teach the other workers what I have learned from the Japanese. And so I trained for over a year to learn all the things that I need to do later. Within that 1 year, they kept promising me that they will give me the official promotion letter soon. The promise comes every now and then and never came. Fast forward to 1 year later, a new translator rolled in. As soon as he took up the translator job, I started, based on the verbal promise, working on my new tasks as a training executive. It was okay until a few weeks later, and that new translator turned out to be a dud. He couldn't do Jonathan feces. Choosing Beggars 1 and 2 immediately turned back to me to do translation jobs. At the same time, they wanted me to still perform my new duties as training executive. In other words, double the job, double the working hours, but no additional benefits whatsoever. So I told them the only reasonable response. Okay, I will help you, but let's get that useless guy out first and start recruiting a new person so I can get back to my new duties? Their response?
No, we're keeping him. It's difficult to find a new translator.
If you're keeping him, then use him. Why use me?
Because you're better?
Then what is he here for?
I feel sorry for him, so let's just keep him.
What is he gonna do then?
Learn to translate. You'll teach him.
Till when?
I don't know.
Then until he can do it, I will resume my old position?
No, I want you to do your new duties too, because you're good at teaching.
I'm basically doing 3 jobs?
Yeah, but I know he can do it.
That's when I know he has intended to keep the new guy just to give me false hope that one day I will be going back to doing 1 job. I wasn't taking any of that crap. So I ensured the next day the guy quits his job. Let's not delve on how I did it. As soon as he quits, I automatically resumed my old position as translator.
Why aren't you teaching?
I'm a translator.
But you promised to teach.
And you promised to promote me.
Fine, I'll get HR to do it. Till then, can you just do it for me? You're really good at it.
I've been teaching these workers for free for 1 whole year while I trained and worked as a translator at the same time while you made all those empty promises. So no. Later, HR gave me a new job description instead of a promotion letter. I replied by saying I refused the job description due to no new benefits despite the 500% increase in workload. Choosing Beggar 1, who is also the managing director in my company, called me into his office.
Can't you just, absorb the extra workload? I know you can do it. You're good at your work.
I will if you increase my benefits accordingly. I'm willing to discuss.
But this is not a promotion. We're just changing your role.
No, you're giving me more work. Previously, I was paid X to work as a translator. Now you're telling me to do 5 jobs with the same pay. I will not accept that unless you can promise me that I will never have to stay back even if I cannot finish whatever task you have given me for the day. I only work 9 hours a day.
But you're an executive. It's common to work overtime.
I have every right to refuse, especially since my job is still just a translator.
You see how everyone else works overtime. Why are you the only one complaining?
Maybe because they couldn't finish something that I can finish in 2 hours? Have you ever thought about efficiency?
That's why I said you can do it. You're efficient. That's why I think you can do more.
Like I said, I will do more if there is compensation for my extra work.
I cannot give you compensation now. We don't have that much money.
Then let's write a contract where you will pay me such and such when we do.
I don't want to promise that in black and white, but I promise Choosing Beggar 2 will give you a great annual performance review if you accept this new job. Then you can get a high bonus.
I'm not interested in a performance review and verbal promises. Make it in black and white, and I prefer what I'm sure I can have, instead of future performance reviews that I cannot 100% confirm will benefit me accordingly.
What? But don't you think about all the work experiences? They're valuable.
I already have them. I'm ready to unleash my potential anytime as long as you're willing to compensate. promise me I never have to overtime.
We will try to make your work as easy as possible.
Then let's try this. I have 9 working hours a day, and you give me 5 jobs to do at the same pay rate as before. So let's divide how many hours to do which job. I'm pretty flexible. However, at this current rate, since I'm still doing the translation job, I see the translation itself is gonna take 9 hours. I'm not sure when I'm gonna be able to do the other jobs.
We're gonna limit the translation jobs we give you.
Make it in black and white. How much per day? Hour? Words?
No, then we won't have enough to have you translate our meetings with the local workers.
I'm pretty sure you have 5 other local employees who can speak Japanese. Why not just have them do it? Or at least let us take turns?
I want you because your translation is the best.
Uh-huh. Then let me stay as translator.
But we also need a teacher. You're good at teaching.
I have already stated what I want. If you don't like it, you can find someone else who is willing to do it.
But you're the only one who can.
As long as I don't sign the new job description, there is nothing you can do to me. And remember, you are in my country. I know our labor laws better than you do. You're not in Japan anymore where you can pressure anyone into suicide with your crazy working culture. Then I left the office. I actually have more stories on these Japanese bosses, but they're not Choosing Beggar related, so I will post them on r/rant or something. Sorry if it's boring. No, I found that really interesting because it was a lot of dialogue and it was actually well written. So I thank you for the good read because it was long. Not that I'm complaining. Man, you are in an amazing position to negotiate here because they obviously really need your skills because you obviously have a very hard to find skill set. And that is good, so you can probably negotiate yourself a hefty paycheck if you do your crap right. This story's called, Want to make up your own price? Have fun explaining to your client why these video clips have to be removed from a completed video that's already been in use for 2 years. So, a large advertising agency in town emails me saying they are renewing a song license for a video they made for their client, and the agency asks me if they need to renew these time-lapse shots since I didn't specify the length of the license in the invoice. I ignore the email for a few days because my contract over at the agency is a pain to deal with. He emails me again and says,
Hey, just making sure we are good and don't need to pay any extra to keep these time-lapse shots on the video.
I respond and tell him, no, per your email 2 years ago on MMDDYYYYY, you said this was for a 2-year license. So if you want to renew all 20 of these shots, it'll be $2,000 just like before. This is a heavily reduced price since it was originally supposed to be an internal video. He responds with,
No, we made a shorter version of the video and only used 10 shots, so it should be $1,000, right?
I say, yes, if you only use 10 shots, it would be $1,000. Just send over a screenshot of what shots you used or a copy of the video and I'll list out the names of the shots on the invoice and give you a license for another 2 years. So, some backstory. 2 years ago, this guy tried to get 79 time-lapse shots I spent a year and a half creating. For free. No, this is a large ad agency in town I live in. He should know a rough cost for these shots. He initially tried to justify getting these shots for free because I would be increasing my taxes since the city would be ultimately paying for them. He wanted them re-rendered without a watermark and offered to pay me $200 for about 40 hours worth of work and render time. Obviously, I turned that offer down, and later we agreed upon a heavily discounted price for the 20 shots he actually wanted. At this point, I no longer trust anything this client says. Fast forward one last time to today.
Hey, hope you had a good holiday. Just wanted to wrap this renewal up. I think these terms are much more agreeable.
Yeah, they are much more agreeable for you, not me.
I'm just trying to get you paid. Don't you want $1,000?
I'm not interested. Please remove all of the time-lapse shots in question from the video.
You're gonna turn this down over $300?
Yep, I'm tired of dealing with this. You've tried to get something from me for nothing from the start of the project and you told me you want to renew 10 shots. Then, when you sent the video over so I could name the shots for the renewal, there were 13 shots in the video.
I don't understand.
That's okay, you don't have to. Have a nice day.
Click.
Conversation is paraphrased. If the client was asked, I'm sure I would be made out to be unreasonable. Geez, I'm usually pretty happy to negotiate, but when you ask me to render out 79 time-lapse shots, Without a watermark for free? Then, when I give you a heavy discount for the shots you actually want to use, and follow up with an email claiming I didn't give you a discount, and finally decide to make up your own price when it comes time to renew a license just because you think you can push people around, yeah, that's not gonna happen. I didn't turn down the renewal over $300. The client did. It'll be nice to never hear from them again. I'm sure I'll have questions as to why I'm trying to charge so much. Each time-lapse shot takes between 15 minutes for the shortest shot and 6 hours for the longest shot. Sometimes when I go out to shoot and once I render the shots, I'll realize there was something that didn't happen. Like a drawbridge never cycled, so I'll have to shoot it again another night. Each time I go out, I probably bring at least $8,000 worth of camera gear with me. The computer with the software required to render each shot cost at least $4,500. Also, if I add in the cost of having a car, gas, insurance, and paying me enough to be able to make these shots, it's not particularly cheap to make this stuff. Update. President of ad agency called me up today and was very polite. Offered more than I originally requested, turned down a higher offer, and agreed upon original price. President said he will speak to the employee. I have a new level of respect for the agency. First of all, respect to this guy for making it into the photography business. It's pretty hard to get into as far as I know. And honestly, he handled that very well, considering all that goes into that. But honestly, okay, I'm probably missing something, but why would you not have a render with the watermark and a render without the watermark? You know, so you could charge people a little bit extra for the render without the watermark. I don't know, that just seems like an oversight to me. This story's called My Brother, a Champion or a Choosing Beggar. This is my first time here, so I apologize in advance if I break any rules. First, a little backstory. My brother, 24, is a martial arts champion/instructor. He has won multiple championships on state and national level, and he's currently working in 3 different gyms. Sometimes we train together. I'm 21, struggling a lot to find a job and waiting for a chance to get in college. You can say I'm not on my prime time. I'm not a winner like my brother is, but I do martial arts, so I consider myself an amateur. I'm always up to help him in the gym he works for with exhibitions and tournaments in exchange for nothing but watching the matches on first row. Brother has been angry at me for more than a month for an unknown reason and barely speaks to me. Now, here's the story. This just happened today. My brother, a couple of weeks ago, when he is already mad at me, asked me for some personal documents, birth certificates, ID, etc., to sign me and his trainees up on a sports count from the government. This means the more people training in martial arts, the more budget for the sport in the next year. In exchange for this, the government gives an incentive in cash to all the athletes counted. He tells me I'm expected to have around $75 for being part of the count as a regular trainee, while he's expecting around $255 for being an instructor. I'm really okay with this. $75 is more than good for me being unemployed. So today we went to the local sports institute to pick up our money. There we got informed that the incentive will be given in checks so everyone's money is safe. I received my paycheck first, and it wasn't for $75 as we first thought. It was for $127. They gave me the amounts that only top performance athletes are entitled to. I was screaming internally of happiness when I saw the amount right next to my name. Then they proceeded to hand a check to my brother. It wasn't for $255 as we thought too. This time it was less, but it was still really good cash for practicing a sport you love. $178. Not bad in my opinion, but my brother didn't like any of that. He was really furious about the big cuts on his money. When we got back home, we have a conversation that went exactly like this. When you turn that check into cash today or tomorrow, keep 50 for yourself and give me the rest. Wait, what? Why? Because things are like this. But that's less than you told me I was getting in the beginning. They also gave me less than I was told in the beginning. Then he storms out of the room, furious, and I stayed there, confused. 20 minutes later, I got a call from Dad asking how I was. I told him everything just like it happened, and he responds with, "Give him the money. I'll refund the amount to you, but I'm gonna have a really serious talk with your brother. I think he wants the money for a sleeve tattoo, and his anger has to stop now." I was crying out of pure rage, trying to explain to my dad how this was not fair in any form, and he agreed, but he told me it was the right thing to do in order to avoid a bigger fight between us just for money. In my dad's words, he doesn't want us to be antagonizing each other because we are brothers. We are meant to be together, and he doesn't want us to have bad blood. I agreed reluctantly to follow his plan, so now I'm waiting for my dad to talk to my brother to calm his fury and give him the damn money. If you guys are interested in how this is going to end, let me know. I'll keep you updated. Thanks for reading this and excuse me for the length. It's really sad seeing people get into squabbles over, I know it seems like a lot of money, but honestly, what is that? Freaking $70? Like, that's just ridiculous, given they're brothers, and martial arts is supposed to teach you discipline and a whole lot of other spiritual things if Karate Kid is anything to go by. This story's called, If You're Gonna Make Me Free Food, At Least Use the Sauce I Like. My neighbors rented out their basement apartment to a man in his mid-30s. He had 2 small kids and was recently divorced. Nice guy, but a bit weird. Also, kind of lonely and would chat forever any chance he got. Christmas time comes and he catches me going in the house and starts explaining how he had lost his job and that it sucked because he couldn't buy his kids gifts. I felt bad and went and got some presents for his kids. I dropped off a roll of wrapping paper and told him to sign the presents for him. He was grateful and nice. Over the next few months, his kids would come and borrow movies on their weekends and ask for some popcorn. Not a problem. Easter comes around and he explained that his car had broken down, so he had lost his job again, and asked if I'd help with gifts for the kids. Sure, every kid should get something. At this time, my husband has switched his shifts to nights. He wasn't home for supper and I found I had a lot of leftovers. I talked to the guy and explained that usually 2 times a week I could bring him supper to try to help. Goes good for the first 2 weeks. Then he starts making comments like, "Hey, why can't you do the supper thing more? What are we having tonight?" I would explain that we were going out or eating some leftovers my husband liked. One day, I brought the food with tinfoil on it instead of saran wrap. He told me to show him the food first in case he didn't want to accept it. Huh? Looks and takes it. He started to get pushier and pushier. The final day, I had made wings and took them over. He gets visibly upset and goes off on a rant about how I knew by now he didn't like honey garlic. Why couldn't I be more considerate of his needs? Do I even care? I lost it. My kids like it. It is their freaking dinner. I told him I was done, and good luck with the groceries. He tried the gift thing again for his kid's birthday 2 months later. He was working by then, and I knew, considering that he sat out front drinking multiple beers every night, new shoes, etc. So he had money to buy his kid a present. Oh my gosh, okay, that was painful to read because, you try to help someone out and then they get really, oh god, it's so awkward, it's so gross.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.